Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Education, SOE, Master's Degree Programs, Master of Arts, Distance Education, MAID, Second Year, MDE, 416 Curriculum Development for Distance Education, Block-4 Curriculum Evaluation, Unit 1, Concept of Curriculum Evaluation.
1.1 Introduction. Education, as an institution in modern societies, has contributed much to human welfare, including intellectual, social, and economic developments as well as the enlargement of knowledge and culture. The rapid changes in the socio-economic conditions of developing nations are responsible for the emergence of distance learning. Under the changing circumstances, the learner can become a better learner at a distance, and all learners need help and assistance to develop better skills, knowledge, and attitudes. Greater effectiveness and productivity of education can contribute still more to the advancement of nations throughout the world. But two questions arise here. How can we measure the effectiveness and productivity of education? And how can we improve the quality of educational services? To answer these questions, we need to know the concept and role of curriculum evaluation in education. Evaluation of both the processes and products of education becomes imperative not only to convince us as to what work is going on in the whole educational system, but also and more importantly, to know to what extent the goals of education have been achieved. In short, it helps to build an educational program, assess its achievements, and improve upon its effectiveness. It serves as an inbuilt monitor within the program and helps to review, from time to time, the progress in learning. It also provides valuable feedback on the design and the implementation of the program. The curriculum has become broader based than before. Flexibility has been enhanced by providing more options. Learners are able to widen their horizons and equip themselves with a broader spectrum of knowledge in order to adjudge the various career opportunities available. Thus, the role of curriculum evaluation in educational programs is significant. Keeping this in view, we shall now look at the concept and role of curriculum evaluation. In this unit, we have given an overview of the evaluation processes and of the various types and functions of curriculum evaluation. 1.2 Definitions of curriculum. Evaluation. Evaluation can be denied in numerous ways. In one sense, we evaluate all we do all the time. However, curriculum evaluation is a process by which we attempt to gauge the value and effectiveness of any particular educational activity with regard to the student who takes part in it. For example, how much he/she knows about mathematics, the distance between your workplace and residence, a student's score in a science achievement test is 60, John got an A grade in an assignment response, etc. You can think of many other similar examples. All the above statements are based on some sort of evaluation. This is often relative to an implied standard of reference or normal condition. We make judgments either by observing something or by measuring it and giving it a quantitative, qualitative value. We evaluate all we do all the time, whether we are working in an institution or watching a television program. Most of our day-to-day assessments are informal and often at the subjective level, but we do make attempts at being more systematic, organized, and rigorous when participating in certain processes. For example, judging, marking, and recording an essay competition in an institution, comparing the temperature or rainfall goals of major cities, etc. In these cases, the evaluation process is more systematic and organized. So, the term evaluation here is used in a number of different ways. To put it succinctly, we can say that evaluation is to ND out the value of, or to judge the worth of, or to estimate the magnitude and quality of something. There are a number of ways to deny evaluation. We may deny it into distinct, ways or see it as existing into different forms in relation to education, I. Evaluation of learning outcomes, ELO, and 2. Evaluation of learning systems, ELS. Let us discuss them here. 1.2.1 Evaluation of learning outcomes, ELO. Evaluation is the systematic process of determining the extent to which the specified instructional objectives previously identified and deemed have been achieved. Here, the process of evaluation is based on the relationship between the objectives of the content and its actual outcome. The actual outcome can measure the intended learning outcome. Ideally, the instructional objectives will clearly specify the desired changes in learners, and the instruments will provide a relative measure or description of the extent to which those changes have taken place. This box diagram should help you clarify a number of pertinent points regarding evaluation of learning outcomes. Firstly, you can realize that objectives establish direction and that when they are stated in terms of learning outcomes, they go beyond knowledge of the specific course content. You can note the difference between the study of and recognizes cell structure. The process, study of an animal cell structure, includes the interaction of the teacher, learner, content and the learning environments to affect learning outcome, recognizing different parts of an animal, cell and so on. Secondly, you can realize the varying degrees of dependence that the outcome, i.e., recognizes and draws, has on the course content. The learning outcome, recognizes, is a specific outcome of major instructional objective knowledge. The learning outcome draws is a specific outcome of the major instructional objective skill. From this discussion, it is clear that these specific learning outcomes, which are easily attained, can be observed and measured directly in an instructional system. Thirdly, if the deemed objectives are achieved, decisions will be taken in a particular direction to provide feedback. If they are not achieved, then different decisions will have to be taken. The procedures steps involved in ELO are I. Establishing objectives, 2. Placing objectives in broad classification, 3. Dealing objectives in behavioral terms, 4. Establishing situations in which attainment of objectives can be demonstrated, choosing or developing appropriate evaluation tools techniques, 6. Collecting data from the learner's performance, 7. Comparing data with objectives, 8. Making a decision about the learner's performance, and 9. Providing feedback. Here, evaluation of learning outcomes, ELO, is concerned with the systematic process of determining the extent to which the instructional objectives are achieved and also with the provision of feedback to the learners. 1.2.2 Evaluation of learning systems, ELS. Evaluation, as we have maintained, is the systematic process of collecting and analyzing data in order to make decisions. Further, it refers to the process of obtaining and providing descriptive and judgmental information about the worth and merit of a programmer's goal, design, implementation, and impact in order to make informed decisions. This is otherwise known as decision-oriented evaluation. The process of ELS involves the following steps. I. Conducting a formal or informal survey for the assessment of needs. 2. Dealing the goals objectives of the program. 3. Identifying the clients involved in the program. 4. Developing the program materials, activities and administrative arrangements. Choosing appropriate evaluation tools or techniques. And 6. Collecting information related to the program. The basic difference between the two definitions, i.e., ELO and ELS, is the issue of making decisions in different situations by different persons involved in the system. In other words, we can say that ELO is a part of the daily affairs of a teacher or a learner, and here we are concerned with the results or outcomes. But ELS is the concern of educational planners, administrators, and researchers. ELS help in shaping revising and replacing educational programs to achieve better results. Let us now work out the exercise given below. 1.3 Difference between measurement, assessment and evaluation. Throughout the block you will come across terms such as test, measurement, and assessment besides evaluation. Do these different terms mean one and the something? Very often they are assumed to do so and are used as though they are synonymous and interchangeable. But the fact is that they carry different functional meanings, and as such, one cannot replace one with another without causing considerable damage to the sense conveyed. What follows is an attempt to discuss how these words are used in the ELD of education and training. Let us not confuse the terms. Test is a device to obtain quantitative data. This consists of a standard set of questions to be answered or tasks to be performed. It is one among several devices, like holding interviews, sending questionnaires, assigning projects, rating scale, observation, etc., that can be used to measure the characteristics or traits present in an individual. It is the most commonly used form of measurement in education. A test usually presents a uniform set of tasks to all members of a given group at a scheduled time with due prior notice. Sometimes unannounced tests are possible and useful in classroom situations. Measurement is an act of assigning a numerical index, i.e., quantification, to what is being assessed in some meaningful and consistent manner. For example, Suresh scored 32 out of 50 in an English test. When we assign a score 30 to 50ths to a given test performed by Suresh, we are performing an act of measurement. Measurement only coalesces the data obtained through observations, rating scale, tests, or any other devices. Assessment refers to the process of obtaining information about a learner's learning, progress, and achievement. That is, what and how well has the learner understood the content of a course? Upon completion of the course, a value is assigned to the performance. For example, Suresh got an A grade or 75% in an assignment response. Evaluation is a wider and more inclusive term. This includes all the three: test, measurement, and assessment. When we compare the score of a learner with those of other learners and judge whether it is good, average, satisfactory, unsatisfactory, bad, we are performing an act of evaluation. Here is an illustration. To say Suresh has scored 32 out of 50 in a test is a report of measurement. But to say Suresh is good in English is an instance of evaluation. To be more clear, let us take another example. A typist types 50 words per minute. Here, 50 is a symbol by which his/her ability is being measured. When we say that he/she types better than other typists in the of CE, we evaluate his/her typing ability. So in the case of evaluation, we assign a value judgment to measurement. Measurement answers how much, whereas evaluation answers how good, or how well. Put differently, the latter adds meaning or value judgment to measurement. From what we have just now seen, we can note that evaluation includes three components. They are 1. Quantitative description, e.g. Raman has scored 60 in mathematics. 2. Qualitative description, e.g. Raman is able to solve mathematical problems systematically. 3. A value judgment, e.g. in view of the above facts, Raman is good in mathematics. In one sentence we can say that evaluation is equal to quantitative description, measurement, facts and goals, qualitative description, non-measurement, ranking, weightage, value judgment. The above discussion explains the comprehensive nature of evaluation and the role of measurement in the evaluation process. It goes beyond the simple quantitative description. Evaluation always includes value judgments concerning the desirability of the result. 1.4 Types of evaluation. In the previous sections, we discussed evaluation as a process of assessing the worth of a product, a process, or a program. With reference to the processes, products, and persons under consideration, different types of evaluation can be grouped as below: L. Student evaluation, L. Institutional evaluation, L. Program evaluation, L. Personnel evaluation. The above four types should give us a global view of evaluation. But we can also state the types of evaluation according to functions, approaches, and nature of reference, because there is no one best way to classify evaluation. Every evaluation situation is unique. Evaluation needs to be situationally responsive, which is more helpful than a rigid orthodox form of evaluation. Based on functions, evaluation can be prognostic diagnostic. According to approach, it may be formative or summative, and with respect to the nature of reference, it may be criterion referenced or norm referenced evaluation. The above discussion provides us with a broad understanding of types of evaluation. Let us put all these into tabular form for a better understanding. Table 1.1: Basic ways of classifying different types of evaluation. Look at the screen. We have already discussed above how one of the distinctive features of the evaluation process is the use of a wide variety of procedures. These may be described in many different ways depending on the frame of reference used. We shall discuss here student, institutional, and program evaluation, which will give us an overview of the subject. 1.4.1 Student evaluation. In this case, the evaluation process is addressed to each single student and to the group of students as a whole. The evaluation which concerns the individual student is based on information which denotes his/her achievement, intelligence, personality, attitude, aptitude, and interest. These traits can be measured with the help of individual teacher-made or standardized tests. This is otherwise known as individual student evaluation. The evaluation process which deals with the students as a whole has more or less the same purpose, but it concentrates on pointing out the difference between the subjects and the population. This is otherwise known as group evaluation. The individual and group evaluation processes can function at three levels: I. Individual group initial evaluation, 2. Individual group intermediate evaluation, and 3. Final evaluation. I. Initial evaluation of an individual or of a group aims at evaluating the pupil entry behavior in a sequence of instruction. This is also known as placement evaluation. For example, before the start of the proper course, the learners could be sorted out according to their abilities and placed in a particular course. Placement evaluation is necessary for admission of students into a new course or program. The initial evaluation can be based either on certificates or on data resulting from objective tests or on information gathered in different ways. Collecting initial data has the purpose of starting the process of diagnostic evaluation. We ND diagnostic evaluation in the case of technical education. Some institutions which want to program their activity in a more constructive way base their initial diagnostic evaluation on data especially obtained at the beginning of the year by administering batteries of tests to the students. The results are deemed as learning prerequisites. This has to be regarded as a useful tool in taking early decisions about the individualization of remedial work. The same situation arises in the case of distance education. In fact, it is advantageous to examine specific data obtained at the initial moment and to base diagnostic and prognostic evaluation thereon. In this case, the educational decisions would be more reliable and more suitable to the individualization of the teacher activity. For example, before the beginning of the proper course, the students could be grouped according to their abilities and could be trained on the basis of specifically designed procedures to get the remedial work they actually need. 2. Intermediate evaluation aims at the evaluation of a student's learning progress during the period of his/her learning activity. When the teacher teaches in the class and gives the students some new ideas, the teacher tries to evaluate the learning outcomes on the basis of which he/she modifies the methods and techniques of teaching to provide better learning experiences. This helps us to ND out whether the student needs some instruction to supplement or to compensate for his/her weaknesses. In the context of distance education, individual intermediate evaluation aims at establishing the progress of each student in acquiring the abilities representing the objectives of the single parts into which the course is divided. This evaluation is called formative evaluation when its purpose is to modify the educational proposals and to make them more relevant to the individual student's needs. When the evaluation of the learning activity is based on the formative approach, it must be as analytical as possible. Suppose a student shows some weakness and is not able to reach the intermediate goals as they have been established during the planning of the course, it is necessary to know exactly in which of the objectives is the student failing and what the causes of the failure are. So, intermediate evaluation does not only diagnose the difficulties but also points out the mistakes made by the student. The main tool for individual evaluation is formative tests. These tests are structured, measuring instruments with specious answers. The evaluation of the learner's progress can be measured with the help of periodical questionnaires, if the course lasts for a long time, through observation when the student personally contacts the educational structure or through informal communication such as letters. Formative evaluation is a tool for providing feedback to the teaching learning process. This type of instruction motivates the teacher and the student and reinforces learning by providing feedback to both of them. 3. Final evaluation is done at the end of a course of instruction. It is the evaluation of the pupil's achievement at the end of instruction. This is also called summative evaluation. This helps a teacher to know how far the objectives have been accomplished and to what extent the instruction has been effective. Traditional university examinations are examples of summative evaluation. Teacher-made tests, standardized tests, rating scales are some of the widely used tools for summative evaluation. The individual null evaluation is employed for assigning grades to students. Its chief functions are crediting and certifying the level of attainment of the pupil. This is judgmental and terminal in character. It is terminal in nature because it comes at the end of a course of instruction or a program. It views evaluation as a product. The chief concern of this type of evaluation is to point out the levels of attainment of students and to judge the efficacy of a program or system and thereby guide us as to whether the program or the system is to be accepted or rejected. Summative evaluation is concerned with the outcomes of learning or products of education. A closer look at the student evaluation in distance education in an open university. At this stage, it will be useful to examine student evaluation in an open university. For this purpose, we take the case of IGNOU. In this university, student evaluation takes place continuously during the course of the student's studies. A distance learner, while working through a course, is expected to do the self-assessment questions. He/she submits assignments and receives the tutor's comments and grades marks. All the programs end with a formal examination. From this discussion, you may note that the open universities generally have a three-tier system of evaluating learner performance. This consists of 1. Self-assessment, 2. Assignments, internal assessment, and 3. Term-end examination, external assessment. Let us discuss them in the given order. Self-assessment. The RST component of student assessment comprises in-text questions given in the course units which are self-instructional in nature. Students are expected to work on these in-text questions on their own and having worked on a question, look for reinforcement in the answers provided in the materials themselves. These are the questions or exercises which do not carry any weight for passing the examination. The responses to these questions are not to be sent to the university or to any study center for evaluation. This component is called self-assessment. In other words, we can say that the process of self-assessment serves the purpose of formative evaluation, assessment through assignments. The second component of student assessment is assessment through assignments. Assignments constitute the continuous evaluation component of a course, and they play an important role in the two-way communication between the distance tutor and the learner. The students work on prescribed assignments. Students send written responses to the assignment questions to evaluators on contract at the study center's headquarters of the university. Assignments are usually of two types: L computer marked, L tutor marked. Computer marked assignments, CMA, consists of objective type questions. 2 sample CMA questions are given below. L. Among the following, who could be included in the category of business person? A. Chartered accountant. B. Doctor working in a hospital, physician. C. Sales boy in a medicine, chemist, shop. D. Owner of a grocery shop. 2. An example of an audiovisual medium of advertising is I. Picture card. 2. Poster. 3. Film show. 4. Radio. Students choose the correct answer and mark the number alphabet against the correct answer in the box provided. Alternatively, they put a tick mark or darken the number alphabet as the case may be. Similarly, if a learner does not want to answer any question, he/she can put a X in that box. After completing the assignments and filling in the response sheet, the students are required to mail it to the headquarters. The tutor-marked assignments, TMA, demand written responses in the form of either essay-type questions or short answer questions or both. The learners, after going through the Unit S, Block S, on which assignments are based, write the responses. Assignment responses, as mentioned above, are sent to the coordinator of the study center allotted to the student. It is compulsory for students to attempt the assignments. They will not be allowed to appear for the term-end examination of a course if they do not submit the specified number of assignments in time for that course. We should note here that for calculating the overall scores of TMA or CMA or both, where mandatory, are put together. Evaluation through assignments serves the purpose of formative evaluation and also the purpose of summative evaluation, as the grades marks scored in assignments constitute a component of the overall score a student gets in a course. This constitutes continuous assessment, term-end examination. The third component of student assessment is based on the term-end examination, which in most cases is a conventional 3-hour written examination. The term-end examination for various courses programs is ordinarily held in the months of June and December every year. Students are free to appear at any of these examinations, June-December, either for specific courses or for a whole program, provided that they complete the minimum period of study and the required assignments. This component serves the purpose of summative evaluation, grading. Grading involves expressing a distance learner's achievement performance in relation to a pre-specified criterion rather than in relation to the achievement of others enrolled in the program. A learner who fulfills a certain criteria in every required task is said to have successfully completed the required tasks and so is awarded a grade mark. The rest are considered unsuccessful in the computation of the overall score in a course. The weight assigned to continuous assessment may be between 25% and 30% of the total score, and correspondingly the weight assigned to the term-end examination may be between 75% and 70% of the overall score. To complete a course successfully, a student is expected to get at least a pass grade in both the continuous assessment and the term-end examination. The Open University follows a letter grading system on a 5-point scale A, B, C, D, and E. So, the levels of performance, both in continuous evaluation as well as at the term-end examination of all programs, degree, diploma, and certificate, are indicated in letter grades A, B, C, D, and E. 1.4.2 Institutional evaluation. Every teaching learning situation is different. It follows that every evaluation will be different too, as it must be tailored to meet the needs of individuals, both teachers and learners, of groups and of institutions. Many teachers are employed by large institutions and may be unable or unwilling to evaluate their own particular areas of work in isolation. An evaluation of the whole institution may be called for. Evaluation of an institution indicates some of the aspects of an institution which could be usefully evaluated and emphasizes the need for effective control of the procedure of evaluation through a widely representative evaluation steering group. It can be very beneficial to evaluate an institution in terms of its management, administration, ancillary services, and the general environment. Great care must be taken to ensure that all interest areas groups are properly represented, unless everyone involved feels he/she has the opportunity to provide his/her opinions and concerns and contribute to decisions. The evaluation is most unlikely to be worthwhile. Much of the evaluation of an institution will center around the work of teachers and the educational service they deliver. It can be carried out by small groups of staff. It is possible for each small group to facilitate decision-making and to oversee the day-to-day processes, but when an institution is to be evaluated, the process goes far beyond the examination of individual courses or programs within it. All educational institutions may have existing data collection systems, often referred to as management information systems. Many institutions are now adopting quality assurance systems, including sets of questionnaires seeking students and sometimes employers' perceptions of courses. An evaluation steering group must take into account these existing systems and decide how to incorporate them into its own work to avoid duplication. It also has to examine the limitations of these systems and so avoid being restricted by them. From the above discussion, it is clear that institutional evaluation can be of two types: I. System evaluation. 2. Course evaluation. System evaluation. System evaluation involves the evaluation of any instructional program or instruction materials and includes evaluation of such factors as instructional strategies, textbooks, audiovisual material, and physical and organizational arrangements. How many courses have been produced? How many students are there? How many applicants had to be turned away? Etc. This data can be drawn from administrative records and presented regularly, often in the form of an annual report or a statistical digest in a system. In addition to measurements of activity come those of efficiency. How many students have successfully completed the courses? What amount of workload do they attempt? This data may come from administrative records and be produced as a part of regular monitoring procedures. So, system evaluation has often moved beyond the descriptive to the examination of patterns and causes. A new program is usually considered to be cost-effective if one of the following is true: I. It costs essentially the same as other programs but results in a greater achievement. 2. It costs less and results in an equal or a greater achievement. 2. It costs more but results in a significantly greater achievement. Unless the difference is minimal, anything that costs more usually must be demonstrated to be practically better. Course evaluation. The second major strand of institutional evaluation is course evaluation. The Aim of this is to improve the quality and effectiveness of the teaching and learning that takes place. The evaluation of a course or teaching materials may seek to provide information that can be used during the process of developing a course or preparing materials. These are formative evaluation procedures, but when we seek to provide information about how well the niched instruction has worked in normal use, we use what are called summative evaluation procedures. Summative evaluation procedures of a course provide feedback from tutors and students. For example, tutors can give their own reactions to the teaching materials and also accounts of the problems there students have encountered in their studies and assignments. The experience of tutors in making the course work can provide particularly useful information for subsequent modifications to or adoptions of the teaching materials and instructional arrangements. Feedback is gathered from conventional students, i.e., those in the conventional system of education while they are in the classroom and responding to a teacher's questions. In the case of distance teaching, students' feedback is collected while they are taking a course or shortly after its completion. The students' feedback from one presentation in a course helps to determine revisions for subsequent presentations. The information can be collected through mail questionnaires. 1.4.3 Program Evaluation. You may be aware that a program or course evaluation starts with needs assessment besides gathering information regarding its marketability, utility, economic viability, adequacy, and appropriateness of its content and media components. We shall here elaborate on the whole process of program, course evaluation. Institutions normally initiate some evaluation activities when launching new programs. These include the need assessment of a program on the basis of social demands, marketability, i.e., whether the program is attracting sufficient number of students, cost effectiveness of the program, etc. According to the needs of the society and cost effectiveness of a course program, the utility of a program in a country is also considered. For determining the adequacy and appropriateness of the content and media components of a program, a few criteria commonly used at distance learning institutes are L. What is the level of content density? L. Is the language used appropriate to the level concerned? L. Is the material adequately self-instructional? L. Is the media utilization pedagogically rational? L. Is the material socially relevant? L. Is the material easily accessible? Etc. Essentially, program course evaluation at open universities is a two-tier operation. The RST tier consists of those elements of evaluation which are conducted before launching a program course. For example, the need for a course and the rationale behind the outline of a particular course are looked into by an expert committee. The modifications brought in at this stage are again discussed and reviewed with the course writers. In the process of writing a course, the materials get vetted by a program course editor, a language editor, and a unit designer. The second tier of evaluation in the present context involves the piloting of programs courses. This process involves a trial of materials with the RST batch of students, and revisions are brought in subsequently. Program evaluation comprises three components: evaluation of the planning of a program course, evaluation of materials that result from the plan, and evaluation of the support services after the materials courses have been launched. Evaluation of planning a program. This activity consists of evaluating a program course in terms of the need for it, its marketability, its utility, its economic viability, adequacy, and appropriateness of its content and media components. For example, suppose we plan to study the economic viability of a program or course. For this, various criteria are used to indicate how much is to be spent on preparing a course and what might be the returns. We have to see how much money needs to be spent on the various operations pertaining to a particular course such as cost of expert committee meetings, orientation programs, for course writers, paper and printing, audio and video materials, support, services, and the cost of learning as far as the student is concerned. These cost factors help in estimating whether certain courses are cheaper than others and thus in establishing their relative cost effectiveness. Obviously, such evaluation will yield very useful inputs for planning and decision making in an educational system. 2. Evaluation of materials. Evaluation of materials can be conducted either during the actual process of developing them or after they have been developed, as a continuous evaluation. We may consider a few criteria while evaluating materials. They are content adequacy, language, media utilization, social relevance, etc. Continuous evaluation of materials can be done mainly by giving precise instructions to the authors, supervising them continually, evaluating pilot studies, releasing the niched materials, certification, etc. The most important advantage of continuous evaluation formative evaluation is that it stands for the general possibility for improving the study material. Call 1991, p. 95. 3. Evaluation of student support services. Evaluation of student support services is done to improve the quality of services, to allow managers, educators, tutors to take decisions about expansion and reduction of services, to share information about good practices and failures with a wider audience. This evaluation is a consideration of an aggregate of L. Tutor evaluation, L. Evaluation of face-to-face session, counseling sessions, L. Evaluation of continuous assessment, and L. Evaluation of support system in general. Tutor evaluation. This evaluation consists of assessing the nature of communication or interaction between the tutors and the students through letters or in face-to-face situations, the quality of their comments on assignment responses, the reliability and validity of the assessment of assignment responses, and the turnaround rate of assessed assignment responses. In support services, tutors, academic counselors are essentially engaged broadly in 4 activities, which are L. To inform, advise and counsel learners, L. To meet learners in face-to-face situations for a number of sessions during an academic year, L. To assess assignment responses, L. To help learners to learn how they should learn independently. These 4 activities are the basis of evaluating the students. This evaluation consists in gauging L. The nature of communication interaction between the counselors and students. For example, how far effective interaction was possible through letters or in face-to-face counseling or telephone counseling or through teleconference or through some other medium. L. The quality of tutor comments on assignment responses. L. The reliability, validity and objectivity of the assessment of assignment responses. And L. The turnaround rate of assessed assignment responses. Evaluation of face-to-face counseling sessions. Learners often need help and advice on matters that have nothing to do with the subject matter they are learning about. Sometimes he/she may need help in getting started on a course, organizing his/her time, coping with self-doubt, and deciding on the next step after completing a course program. We evaluate an academic counselor's punctuality, regularity, nature of rapport achieved with the students, quality of the conduct of sessions, students' satisfaction, and tutors' motivation. This can be measured from the administration records maintained in study centers and evaluation divisions. Evaluation of continuous assessment. Evaluation of continuous assessment consists of evaluating the validity and reliability of continuous assessment. This refers to the process of evaluation of assignments for their validity and reliability and for their correlation with the questions set in the end-of-term examination. Student evaluation takes place continuously during their studies. Distant students submit their assignment responses and receive feedback from their tutors in terms of specific comments, corrections, overall comments, and a formal grade. Evaluation of support system. Lastly, the evaluation of the support system itself involves evaluating the quality and quantity of support available to students in relation to various courses at various study centers. Such evaluation will have implications for the recruitment of academic counselors, providing support equipment, local and socio-geographical constraints, and the corresponding support. 1.4.4 Personal evaluation. Evaluation of personnel includes evaluation of all persons responsible, either directly or indirectly, for educational outcomes. Personnel includes not only teachers but also other groups such as counselors and administrators. Personnel evaluation is generally based on the observation of the teacher-tutor in the classroom or face-to-face contact sessions by the head of institution administrator, coordinator, and completion of a rating form by a head or an administrator or a coordinator. In some cases, the teacher may be asked to complete a self-report, rating form, or students may be requested to rate their teacher on a number of factors. The validity of the observation approach, as typically used, is sometimes questionable on a number of dimensions. For example, the number of observations made per teacher is very small and therefore a very small sample of behavior is observed. Sometimes people have a tendency to act differently than they usually do just because they are being observed. Teachers may perform better, may feel nervous, or perform poorly. So there is rarely any evidence regarding the validity and reliability of personnel evaluation if a particular method or tool such as observation is employed. From the above discussion, we can say that it is very difficult to determine what types of behavior are to be evaluated. The solution to the personnel evaluation problem, at least for the present, involves collecting the best data possible from as many sources as possible. 1.5 Purposes and functions of curriculum evaluation. Evaluation plays a key role in education. It helps to know the efficacy of different educational programs. Through evaluation, defects and deficiencies can be identified and appropriate plans of action can be formulated. However, we may have to identify a number of specific purposes and the related functions of evaluation to make it meaningful. We have given below the most common purposes for which evaluation is used within different educational systems. Prediction. This is the purpose served when evaluation helps us discover potential abilities and aptitudes among the students. In a secondary high school, class or public examination, one has to decide whether or not one examination often forms the basis to judge future courses of study. In higher education, evaluation often forms a basis for students to continue with their chosen course of study or to MDE employment. Evaluation results are used as an important factor for selection for employment and for entry to higher education. In technical and commercial training, success at one level opens the possibility of training at a higher level. In all of the above cases, evaluation is used to predict future potential and it helps to assess the future performance of the student to select the right electives. Diagnostic. The purpose of evaluation is to help us identify the learning difficulties experienced by individuals or groups. In classroom situations, teachers constantly attempt to identify the weaknesses, lapses in learning. In distance education, the students are not physically present in the educational situation and the study materials have been planned and carried out in advance. The collective initial evaluation during the planning and carrying out of a course or at its beginning is to set a diagnostic evaluation to MDE out the possible difficulties in the future. This might help us in producing suitable materials for a given group of learners. Selection. This will be the purpose of evaluation when it helps us select suitable persons for a course or career. The entrance tests to different courses are devised with this purpose in view. Grading. This purpose is served when evaluation helps us rank the learners of a given group. Usually, the term-end examination of a course serves this purpose. Guidance. This is the purpose of evaluation when it assists a person in making decisions about courses and careers. The purpose of guidance is served when evaluation enables a learner to know his or her pace of learning or lapses made while learning. The self-assessment exercises in distance education materials are meant to serve this purpose. Decision-making. Evaluation of a course program helps in making decisions about the worth of a course program. The results of program evaluation are used to continue or discontinue a course program. Feedback. Evaluation results provide feedback to students and educational programs in order to bring about an improvement in the system. 1.6 Summary. In this unit, we have discussed the types, purposes and functions of curriculum evaluation. We have stated that curriculum evaluation can be deemed as the systematic process of determining the extent to which the specified instructional objectives previously identified and deemed have been achieved. There are four types of curriculum evaluation with reference to processes, products, and programs. They are student evaluation, institutional evaluation, program evaluation, and personal evaluation. Student evaluation, the process of obtaining and providing information for making decisions and judgments about a pupil's performance. Institutional evaluation, the process of delineating and obtaining information useful for making decisions about the instructional programs of an institution. Program evaluation, the process of the collection and use of information to make decisions about an educational program. Evaluation of personnel, evaluation of all persons responsible, either directly or indirectly, for educational administration, counselors, teachers, and so on. In terms of student performance, we have said that the purpose of evaluation is to determine the current status, grading, of a student's performance, to compare that status with a set of standards for selection, to predict the potential of the studies, to identify the weaknesses and lapses in learning, to suggest any possible improvements after obtaining the feedback, and to select an alternative among two or more to make a decision. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates. And we will see you with the next chapter.